you ready? Are you ready, Raleigh?
I'm ready.
Ah, the crowd goes wild. Good morning or good afternoon, or whatever it is, whenever you're listening to us. Thank you for listening to us. It's another beautiful day in the city of Oaks, and here we are joining you again, and this time we're actually headed to the beach.
Yes. Well, we're back from the beach, but we had a beach break. Oh, what year was it? Was it 2021 or 2022?
Back to this. We were talking about this in our last episode, kickstarting the year.
Still
haven't figured it out.
Honest question. Was it beginning of this year or it was pre-Christmas?
It was just before Christmas. We ducked away for 3 nights. We left on the 17th and then got back and straight into the mad Christmas rush. So we really did need
my
that.
bad. A lot has happened in 2 weeks,
break.
But winter getaways to the which are great and easy to do. I'm going to share all about it. Why on this episode.
They are great. Now, girls said, "Why are we going to the beach in the winter?" And I said, "Girls, like, have you forgotten that you're Australian and that you actually lived across the road from the beach for 18 months in Australia, and we experience many winters on the beach. The beach is just as beautiful in the winter as in the summer. It's worth going there. You get a different experience, but you cannot beat the calm that comes with spending time with the ocean. And in the wintertime, there's no one around. You have those beaches all to yourself.
Yeah, cheaper, less people, less craziness, easier to book. No, not swimming necessarily, but we did have some unseasonably warm temperatures in North Carolina through Christmas and New Year, so you never know. Actually, if I had my board shorts with me, I would have jumped in the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean.
It wasn't that cold.
No.
The water, I mean.
No. It's probably actually warmer than the outside temp. It's just, if there's a little bit of a breeze, getting out of the water can be a bit chilly until you dry off. But
we did that first day. We had a cracking day. Thankfully, we could change our schedule around a little bit so that we could jump on the ferry and go over to Cape Lookout National Seashore. We were in T-shirts, barefoot. It was just beautiful.
But hang on a second. We haven't told everyone where we went yet. The CrystaL Coast.
There you go. I just gave you a little hint.
The CrystaL Coast of North Carolina. Yeah, we jumped in the car in Raleigh, drove a couple of hours. This is going to mess me up too. It still messes me up. Did we head west or east?
Oh, God. Someone help Craig, please. You're heading to the east. You live on the east coast.
I've only had one coffee.
So you're heading east.
I know.
So we did. We headed east for like 3 hours and the CrystaL Coast. Now, you may have not heard of the CrystaL Coast before. You've probably heard of some places within the CrystaL Coast. So let's talk about where exactly on the North Carolina coastline it is.
Yeah, so the CrystaL Coast, it's made up of like 85-mile stretch of beaches and towns and islands, and it's called the Southern Outer Banks, so that might give you a good idea. So it's places like Beaufort, Atlantic Beach, Pine Knoll Shores, Emerald Isle, Indian Beach, and Cape Lookout National Seashore area. So, and Morehead City. So that general area.
Yeah. And really beautiful. We had only been in 2010 with my parents when they came to visit. Kalara was 2.5. Savannah wasn't alive. We went to Beaufort and Atlantic Beach. That's our only ever experience of it.
Sorry, I'm still laughing at how directionally challenged I am.
Yeah.
But it's like the Beltline in Raleigh messes me up. The 440 Beltline. Like when I see a sign go east or west, I have no idea where I need to go.
You know what? I've just noticed they've changed the signs on that because I think the signage on that is really silly. Because it's really silly because when you come in, say you're coming in from the east and the signs are saying, we've got a choice. You can go to North Raleigh or South Raleigh. But the signs actually say you're either going east or west. Now, you can't go east or west because you're coming in from the east. You can only go right, which is north, or left, which is south. So I've noticed the change on the sign now. I've noticed finally I can see the word north and south.
It's confusing. It gets me every time. I'd rather just see a name like Downtown Raleigh or Carey or North Hills, and then I got my bearings.
Yeah,
but
we're not the only ones. We know a friend who got lost on there for 4 hours.
Yeah, she just
straight from Australia.
Yeah, when we first moved over here with that teaching program, one of your colleagues just did laps of the Beltline. Where do I get off? Get me off this ride.
Oops, wrong turn. Back on she goes.
Oh, reminds me of when I was a young kid and I was on this scary ride in Sydney that went round and round really fast, and I cried and told him to stop. Get me off.
You're still shaken up from it. You still can't figure out east from west.
I have no idea. It's like the roundabouts, like all traffic circles you call them in Raleigh. Yeah, I might be still going round and round the roundabout in Australia. And
oh yeah.
If it wasn't for you,
Experience
apparently, if it wasn't for you, my co-pilot.
Well, here just one quick little story to show he's directionally challenged. I actually grew up on a circle, so I grew up on a roundabout. It wasn't really a roundabout, but
wow, your house must have been. Were you living in a tiny house? Or it's the biggest traffic circle in the history of traffic circles. What's that one around the one in Paris? There's no rules. You can't get insurance.
At the end of the Champs-Elysees.
Was it the Arc de Triomphe?
Yeah, where that is, I can't remember.
Not even the Queen Lizzie can't even get insurance to drive around there. It's just madness. But anyway, we're going on random tangents.
Sorry, we have not been drinking before this episode. But I grew up on the circle in the Garden of Eden. True story. And it was called Camellia Circle, and it was much larger than a roundabout. It did have many homes on it, and then there was. But
it was a circle.
It was a circle, and then on the inside was another little circle. That was more.
Now
like
you confuse me. Now it's like a maze.
Great. And when I was growing up, we used to a hobby was to stare out the window and watch the cars keep going around. They couldn't find their way out.
Not me.
Craig still can't find his way out.
Well, the other kicker is with that circle. Every house was red brick. They all look the same. Honestly, it's like Legoland. Like,
which one is your house again? He'd say every time. Which one is your house again?
How boring! Like the architecture, just every house is a red brick and the same floor plan, almost.
But anyway, we were on the
back to the
Crystal
beach.
Coast, and somehow we ended up in Camellia Circle in Waterloo, Australia. That's just where
just
our
hang
mind
with
is
us.
in 2022.
Yeah.
Back to the beach. So we were.
What were we talking about?
The Crystal Coast.
Oh, how we got there and where it is.
Yeah, so you were directionally challenged, but we did end up at the beach, not in the ocean, thankfully. He knew when to stop. So, yes, we went there. We stayed at Indian Beach, which is on Bogues Bank, which for some reason I thought it was Emerald Isle, which would make sense, Isle being short for island, but it's actually called Bogues Bank, that barrier island there, which has Atlantic Beach, Indian Beach, and Emerald Isle. And Indian Beach is halfway between Atlantic and Emerald Isle. So it's in the middle of the island, and it's probably the quietest place, maybe on the North Carolina coast.
Yeah, so it's in between Emerald Isle and Pine Knoll Shores, to be more specific, I think, if that helps anybody. But yeah.
Halfway on the island. Beautiful, beautiful spot. No one around except just loads of dolphins. That was it out the front.
Yeah, that's the beauty of going to the beach in the winter, and you still we had beautiful blue skies, a lot less people, beautiful sunrises. You can get beautiful sunrises and sunsets during the winter. Like the air, it's just different weather pattern.
And I like how the sunrise is a little later, so you can have a little bit more of a sleep in. But what I like more is the sunsets earlier, because I hate 9 p.m. sunsets. I'm over the day by then. So
especially if you're trying to shoot sunset photos and videos, like it's so hard. Like to go out for dinner with the kids, and I'm tired. We've had a big day, and then I'm like, I've got to go and shoot at sunset. But no,
it's too hard.
And then that's my TV time. That's my chill time. 8:30, 9 p.m. I don't want to be out shooting sunset.
Yeah, that's right. And then
unless I've got a cold bevy in hand, drink in hand.
You can do in wintertime more, because at 9 p.m. you're not going to eat and watch the sunset. Even then with kids, you're not really drinking.
That's it. True. Pre-dinner happy hour beer at sunset before dinner.
Yeah, that's
ties in perfect.
That's what's so good about winter.
There
and the North Carolina winters, you've probably heard us. Coastline, you've probably heard us talk many a times. Is that you do get sunrise and sunset. Many of the barrier islands actually face south, so you get sunrise and sunset over the water.
Yeah,
and if you over the ocean, but if you don't, you've got the sound there, so you'll still get sunset over the water, but it'll just be the sound side. So absolutely spoiled for choice. Yeah,
it's great. Now we stayed in the Grand Villas complex condo apartments on Indian Beach.
They were fantastic.
Nice big 2-bedroom condo. Very spacious, great balcony. So the great thing is the sunrise, you can walk down on the beach if you want, like I did, or you can sit on your balcony, have a hot cup of coffee and watch the sunrise up over the Atlantic Ocean.
And our first morning there, we were watching the sunrise, so we were up at 7 in T-shirts. That was incredible.
It was amazing.
Yeah, the next morning we were in coats.
We weren't in T-shirts. Okay.
It was a lot colder, but still beautiful. And watching the sun rise from our deck with a cup of coffee, and no joke, about 20 dolphins.
Oh, yeah.
Just the water was so calm and still, and then these just pods of dolphins were everywhere. It was magical.
Yeah, even if you can't go for a swim, just a walk on the beach, like that fresh, salty air, crisp air, being near the water, the energy of the water, sand between your toes, sun in your eyes. Great way to start or end the day.
It was really good. But yeah, check out those villas. We've got a blog post on our site on the Crystal Coast, more photos, all of that, and we share more about the villas plus a link where you can book. We'll have them in the show notes for this podcast. But I really enjoyed that condo a lot. I thought it was very furnished decorated in a modern way. I think it looked like it had recently been updated.
Yeah,
the kitchen was completely fully stocked. The living area is really comfortable. Each room, it was 2 bedrooms. The girls' room had 2 double beds in theirs. Each room had TVs. We didn't care about it. We never watched TV in our room anyway. All the girls like it. They like to get a break from us and do that. Mm-hmm. And then just beautiful views all around. And as you mentioned, that deck was superb.
Yeah, and a nice pool too.
Yeah,
for the warmer months and garden area. But yeah, no, obviously hot tip, like if you travel with kids like us, we love apartments or condos with separate bedrooms versus just a whole hotel rooms, particularly if you're away for longer than a weekend.
Yeah.
It gets very cramped in a hotel.
It
and
does.
It gets expensive eating out 3 times a day with kids. Like we like to be self-sufficient sometimes and take our own breakfast and coffee and stuff and snack food. And if you got a kitchen there, you can.
And we did that. We cooked. We had one night in, we had dinner. We cooked in the condo we cooked breakfast as well.
That's
and
right.
That was just really nice because that condo is so nice and there's being right on the ocean and just hearing that the whole time we were there. It was just nice to chill out in the condo and cook there and just relax with that condo and the views.
Yeah, it's a slower start to the day than having to rush out and find somewhere for breakfast because honestly, no matter how much we've travelled over the years and places we've been, the most stressful thing is figuring out where to eat.
It really, especially because we have
differing
dietary considerations. Savannah does as
and
well.
The fussiest 10-year-old in the history of fussiness as far as food goes. It's very difficult to find a place that suits everyone's needs.
Yeah,
I'm just happy with steak and eggs like that.
For every single meal, not a green in sight.
Oh, come on. I have
Craig the Carnivore.
Asparagus, avocado. They're both green.
Craig the Carnivore. This could point
I'm
towards
not fully carnivore, but I'm
your directionally challenged.
nudging that way. But that's another topic. But
properly.
yeah, eating out is difficult. We can share a few places that we liked. But yeah, having the option to be able to be self-sufficient in a condo or kitchen is helpful and budget friendly.
Yes. Great condos, good location. So it meant we spent actually most, and we'll go through the different things that we did now, but we actually spent most of our time in Beaufort, which we love Beaufort. It's just this, it's like I don't know if charming is, it's like equal parts charming, but equal parts raw and edgy because it does have that pirate history there.
Yeah. What did the guide say? We're going to talk about our ghost tour shortly, but a guide said we're a pirate town with a fishing problem.
Yeah.
Or something.
And that's the vibe it has, but it has that southern charm because it's got those beautiful homes and the historic, historic kind of flavor to it. But it's unique. It's different.
Yeah, it's an old pirate town.
Very old, yeah.
Some of the historic homes we're going to talk about soon, how we explored them. But yeah, it's a fun place.
And of course, it's beautiful. It's right there on the water. You've got really easy access from there to the Cape Lookout National Seashore and Shackleford Island, which many people have probably heard about. That's where the wild horses are, which we did see when we went with my parents. We caught the ferry over and went searching for them and found them on there, which is a really cool thing to do.
Yeah.
We didn't do it on this trip, but we did see them though.
Yeah, in the warmer months, it's awesome. Take the ferry over. We spent like half a day there last time.
Beautiful beaches
and just
there.
like nice wading for young kids, clean water, and see the wild horses.
Yeah, it was cool. But we did see them on the way over to Cape Lookout where the Lighthouse is. And we passed by at Shackleford and the driver of the boat, when you get the ferry over there, you can only get over there by ferry or your own boat. They will pass by Shackleford and slow down and stop, give you a chance to try and see the wild horses if you can.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we saw some, but they were in the distance, but we did see them.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. The first thing we did was take the ferry over to Cape Lookout National Seashore. It was like a 10-minute drive out of downtown Beaufort to get to the ferry, and then the ferry was like 20 minutes across the water.
Yeah, the ferry left from Harker's Island, but
Harker's
believe
Island.
you can leave from Beaufort as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Harker's Island. And that's all in our blog post. And yeah, 20-minute ferry ride over. It was picturesque scenery, had nice weather for it. And then we got off, and right near the Lighthouse, you get off at the jetty thing there. And then we just walked a short way over to the ocean side, which was just beautiful, just wild, lovely sand, nice coloured water. Like, it reminded us of a beach back home in Oz. Like,
no development whatsoever.
Yeah,
so
no
it's
development.
Just so pristine.
And what that's particularly known for is shelling. Like, great place to go shelling, which we did, and got some of the biggest shells I've ever seen.
Yeah, they were just, the water was just bringing them straight to us.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, this is fun for our kids.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. And then we just took a beach walk. We were over there for a couple of hours because we were late in the day. We only had a couple of hours before the last ferry left.
Yeah.
It was nice.
And you can take the shells home with you as long as there's nothing living with inside them.
Yeah.
So
and don't take too much.
Yeah, but no, we had a nice beach walk there, and be a nice place to have a dip and a swim and
fishing. Beach fishing.
Yeah.
Is popular. And then you have the Lighthouse. You can, I think in the warmer months, you can actually climb up it. It was closed when we visited, but they do have like a small museum there in the Lighthouse cottages.
The Keeper's Cottage.
Yeah, so you can check out the Lighthouse while you're there. And on the sound side, there's also quite a pretty beach too, so some people just hang out there.
Yeah, so definitely put that on your list. Good way to spend a couple of hours over to Cape Lookout.
Just make sure you don't miss the ferry back. I was listening to the boat captain telling us, and I was just running through my head, imagine if that happened. But we got the last ferry back, and that was a Friday, and they weren't running the ferries again until Wednesday.
Oh, wow.
And he said if anyone missed the ferry, they're stuck over there with no supplies, nothing.
Oh, so
we had really bad weather coming for that many days.
Then you become Tom Hanks in that movie.
Yeah.
What's that movie called again? It was
Castaway.
Castaway.
Yeah, I mean, if you have no phone,
you go over there, and
how can you get help?
You go over there cleanly shaved and come back with a beard
and a basketball is your best friend.
I'll pass on that.
There you go.
Oh dear.
So don't miss the ferry, no, because they said they won't wait.
No.
They've told you when to make it, so make sure you're there.
Yeah.
There's a little top travel tip for you. Don't become a castaway. So, Beaufort. Shall we go back there?
Yeah, and the great way to explore any town is on foot, and Beaufort's very walkable. You know, there's several blocks and easy to navigate. And we went to the local visitor centre and got a map, a self-guided map that pointed out all the historical homes to go and see with a little blurb intro, and walked around. And
each of the homes have most of the homes in Beaufort actually, on the self-guided walking map, I believe there's around 20 to 30 homes listed on the map that you can go and see and learn more about. But as you're walking around, you see every single home pretty much in Beaufort is historical, because the historical homes are noted. They all have a plaque on the outside, and it'll have the date on the plaque and the name of the family who were the original owners of the building. And it's like every single property there is historic. So
yeah, it's amazing.
It's great to just walk around and look at them all and read about the ones that are on the map. Yeah.
And our youngest 10-year-old Savannah, she loves playing tour guide, and she loves directing people, whether it's Google Maps or a physical map. And she led the way and was reading the information on the house. It was a good way, good learning.
Yeah. And she loved it. And then later that night we did the ghost tour, and she was able to, we went to this house earlier today, and she could retell, about that house and the story. Of
people. So you can do a guided walking tour, but that was booked out.
It was.
Because it's busy. It was like Beaufort's popular.
It
so
is
you need
all
a
year round.
Bit of planning ahead for tours and stuff, and maybe accommodation if you want to stay right in Beaufort. I would imagine you'd have to book well in advance for most of the year. Yeah. But yes.
And during the winter time months as well, even though it still can get busy there, a lot of the attractions, restaurants, tours, all of that do have reduced or changed hours. Yeah. So make sure if you are traveling in the winter that you do research ahead to make sure that you can get on any of these things that you want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that took us probably, about an hour or so to do the self-guided walking tour. Depends on, how slow you walk and how many photos you take and how many homes you go to.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
And then we did the guided ghost tour.
Yeah, I love that one. That was fun. I love anything about ghosts. I just think it's just a fun part of life.
We thought we had a ghost in our house recently because our washing machine in the middle of the night weirdly would just turn on with the lid open and no lights on.
No, and you couldn't turn it off, and only if you unplugged it. I was like, oh,
what's going on?
This is scary.
Like it happened to you one night, and then me another night, like 3 a.m. in the morning, I hear the washing machine going. And I got up, walked down the hallway, and the lid's open. There's nothing in it. There's no lights on. It's like, this is bizarre. So I just had to unplug it from the socket.
And then I Googled it and saw that it's actually a defect with the washing machine or the motorboard or something.
Yeah, it's
I really
weird.
was hoping it was
Like
a
we've
ghost
had that
story.
washing machine for a long time. It's only just started doing it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway.
But anyway, back to the ghosts of Beaufort. So they are real because, as we said, Beaufort is a very old place. It was a pirate town. So as you can imagine, lots of looting and killing going on in Beaufort. And so you can join the ghost tour, and it runs at nighttime, of course. And the owners, I can't remember when they took it over now, but they've had it for some time. But the owners did some extensive research to make sure that the stories they were telling weren't just made up. So there's some kind of historic significance or truth to it somehow. So I really like that. So I could.
Oh, but where's the fun in that? Like here.
But they're still, because that makes it funner, because they're real ghosts.
Legit.
They're real ghosts. It's not made
Real
up.
ghosts.
They're real.
Not like Casper.
No, not like Casper. There's no Casper in Beaufort.
All right.
But there is a pirate ship that just mysteriously appears off the coastline of Cape Hatteras. Ocracoke, sorry. And I like the one about the White House, when the captain was in love and engaged to obviously this lady, and then he went out to sail his ship and do his captain duties and got caught in a squall, and so he was late coming back to his home, back to Beaufort, and he was like 8 days late or something, and so his fiancée was distressed, and they all assumed that they had died. Well, they end up coming back late because of the squall and damage and whatever. And as he's coming into Beaufort, he looks at his house on the hill and sees the lights on and sees a party happening. And then he realizes they're having a party for him because they all think he's dead. So he gets really angry and upset. And then he sees his fiancée dancing on the front porch with another man. And so he goes racing in there with his sword and doesn't ask questions or anything, just gets into a sword fight with this man, ends up killing him. It turns out the man was his fiance's brother.
Oh, no.
And now the fiance's brother haunts this house, which is said to be the most haunted house in Beaufort. They've had the paranormal experts come in and they've recorded over 20 spirits living in there.
Ooh, I wish we went into that house on the tour.
We do.
Yeah, it really freaked us out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool story. Well, not for the brother-in-law. He got stabbed. Yeah.
That was the pirate days, though.
Yeah. It
Killed
was
and
the
asked
wild day. And of course, it's well known for Blackbeard, the famous pirate in the area.
Yeah. Yep,
who,
he's been recorded factual, been there at least 4 times, I think our guide was saying on the island.
Yeah, and you know, the one particular ship that's shipwrecked off near the coast
Queen
there,
Anne's
the
Revenge.
Queen Anne's Revenge. That he, the last ship that he was on before he abandoned ship.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a particular house that you go to on the self-guided walking
the White
tour.
House.
Oh, the White. Well, that.
The
Yeah,
most
sorry, the
haunted
White
one.
House. Yeah.
Which is actually known as Hammock House.
There is more to that story, which we found out on the ghost tour. But maybe we won't ruin it for everybody.
Yeah, let's not ruin it.
Okay.
And the other great thing that we loved about the ghost tour. Like, it was good because we walked around the streets, we learn about the homes, the ghosts that happen there, but also a bit of the history. And then we end up at the old burying ground. Even if you don't do the ghost tour, I suggest in the daytime going through the old burying ground because it's really cool. It's, it started in the 1700s. So, you've got graves in there from, I think there's some Indian graves in there that are kind of, they aren't sure if they're there or not, but they think they are. So there's those, and then you've got Civil War, Revolutionary War, etc. And it's just a cool graveyard. Like, it has those beautiful oak trees, live oak trees in there. Yeah. There was an owl hooting away when we were walking through there, and you can only go in there during the daytime. But at the end of the ghost tour, we went there at night, but we stood on the outside of it, so we didn't go in. But that was kind of a freaky experience. Yeah.
I mean, it's a magnificent cemetery, like you said, all those oak trees. But, yeah, that's one particular grave that has toys sitting all over it on top of it.
The girl buried in a barrel of rum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, yeah, so they say it's very haunted, and people will come to her grave and leave her toys, and they've done it for years and years. And when whoever comes in of a morning to open up the graveyard and get everything started, they frequently find these toys scattered all over the graveyard as if she's been playing with them.
Yeah.
She's been seen many times by especially children on the ghost tour. Will just start talking to someone at the grave, and they'll just say, well, I'm talking to the girl standing over there, and no one else can see her. And then when we arrived, there wasn't a breath of wind at all, and the pinwheel near her grave starts spinning madly.
And the street light starts flickering
on and off. And I don't know. I said to him, "Are you pressing a button?"
Yeah, he might have been playing tricks on us.
And he said, "Oh, I'm not pressing a button." But I was watching. He didn't seem like he was pressing a button.
I don't know. He kind of leaned over to the fence and did something, but yeah.
That was the girls like really freaked out at that moment. They were like, "Could we go now?"
Yeah. But the wine, the whiskey barrel story of the girl, or rum, sorry. Yeah. The rum barrel.
Yeah.
Because, the father took her over to England, which was like, a 6-week journey by ship. And he promised the girl's, or his wife, that no matter what happened, he would bring her back to Beaufort. Unfortunately, she contacted the plague on the journey back over, and all the other captains of the ship and stuff wanted to throw her overboard because they didn't want the plague to spread throughout the ship. So the father of the child came up with the idea to put her in a barrel of rum to preserve, because it's a very good way to preserve the remains and stuff like that, and brought her home, and they buried her in this gravesite in the barrel of rum.
Yeah, and they've had people come in to investigate the grave to see if there really is a barrel there, and they have determined there is a barrel buried there, but then they did whatever other smart investigations they can do and noticed
they couldn't find a body
or the rum.
Oh, not the rum, yeah.
They couldn't find the body or the rum, so... Maybe a pirate.
Rum runners.
Had a little
Oh, dear. But, yeah, ghost tour. That was good fun.
It was fun. I really recommend that as something to do when you're in Beaufort because it's unique. And
what else we do? On Beaufort, the Maritime Museum. There's a great museum you can do in Beaufort to learn more about the
Queen Anne's Revenge.
Queen Anne's, the pirate history, and, the fishing industry, and... Yeah, that's definitely worthwhile walking through that museum.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've mentioned on other podcasts that museums can be very generic, and we don't tend to go to many of them, but we really love ones that tell the unique story of an area you're visiting. So this one was great, the NC Maritime Museum, that had that focus on the Queen Anne's revenge, the ship and the shipwrecks, or the graveyard of the Atlantic. There's over 600 shipwrecks in that area on the North Carolina coast. So that's great to look at that. We also like the aquarium because that also brought in the elements of the CrystaL coast, the North Carolina coast story. In their huge aquariums, they had like replicas of ships and U-boats that had been sunk in World War II just off the coastline there. And so I just loved that. I thought that was a really unique way to showcase an aquarium and the marine life and stuff. It's
Absolutely. Yeah, the aquarium's at Pine Knoll Shores
Mm-hmm.
and the Maritime Museum's in Beaufort.
fun. Yes.
And the other cool thing about the museum, and that was the if you've got young kids, the treasure hunt they interact with, they can find things without the museum and mark them off and stuff, which Savannah loves doing.
Yeah, when we said, because we always asked, what was your favourite thing about the last place we visited? And that was Savannah's favourite, which I thought was surprising. She said, I love the scavenger hunt at the museum.
Oh, scavenger hunt. Sorry, I said treasure hunt. Scavenger hunt.
Same thing. Well, we're in Pirate Town. So
Same,
we
but
should
different.
call it treasure hunt, actually.
Yeah.
That's a better way of calling it.
Yeah.
And so that was Beaufort. We wanted to mention, the sunset at Beaufort was beautiful
Yeah.
too. We managed to randomly catch that as we were walking
At
around.
Beaufort, there's a nice little boardwalk area along the river. You can just walk along it, or there's a few restaurants and bars there. But yeah, the sunset over there was spectacular.
Yeah, and I think it might be a good idea to reserve a place at one of those restaurants too, just to let people know, because they do get busy. But we found a great restaurant there that we loved,
Yeah.
Mezcalito.
Mezcalito.
On Front Street there in Beaufort.
Yeah, Mexican. I mean, there's plenty of seafood options here on the coast. If you love your seafood, you won't miss out. But yeah, Mezcalito was. We don't eat a ton of Mexican. We're not Mexican experts on Mexican food, but it was great. One of
delicious.
my favorite Mexican restaurants I've been to.
Yeah, and it was busy, lines everywhere. So I think everyone knows it's a great place to go, affordable.
Mm-hmm.
And as the name would suggest, they had great mezcal margaritas, and mezcal's my favorite liquor. So
I
was very happy.
I think it was a jumbo burrito, and it was awesome, big and tasty. And then the margaritas were great too.
Yeah, they were great, and like funky designs with like
it's just a
syrup and
fun
fruit.
place. Like the decor and the service was great, and the great thing is there is a Mezcalito in Clayton, Johnston County.
There you go.
So
You can do it
Raleigheites.
this weekend, everybody.
Yes, we'll have to get down there ourselves.
Yeah.
And check it out.
Yeah, well worth it. Great restaurant. So that was our top tip for Beaufort restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get to try them all, of course. There was a lot that we wanted to try, and we plan to go back and do.
Yes.
All right, another place that we really loved, I'm not sure I was expecting much actually, was the Fort Macon State Park.
Yes. Fantastic. And
Yeah.
that's just near Atlantic Beach.
It is.
Of the
On
tip
the very
of the
northern part
part
of
of the-
Boguesbank.
Yeah. Great state park, great fort. And a great way to do it is there's a 3-mile trail, loop trail that you can walk, which takes in, views of the Atlantic Ocean. There's some dunes. Like you walk up one side, drive into the entrance to the state park, park your car.
At the beach car.
At the beach car park
parking lot,
near the very entrance to the state park, and walk up the coastal side, the Atlantic Ocean side, to the fort, check out the fort, and then you walk back the intracoastal way and see like the marshy area and river and stuff. So
Yeah, and that's called the Elliott Coos Trail. It's a 3.3-mile loop.
Mm-hmm.
So plan for 1 to 2 hours really if you incorporate time spent at the fort, because the fort is really beautiful.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Yeah. And it has a really great story. It has the Civil War history of the fort, but it also has interesting World War II history there as well. It was a garrison during World War II, and they had some, fighting happening with the German U-boat. So there's some displays and things set up there where you can learn about it. And then inside the fort, you've got, like a theatre room with videos and all of that. And then you can walk around inside the fort too.
Yeah.
And see that. So
Yeah.
it sounds great.
Yeah, no, definitely worthwhile. And if you can't, do the 3-mile walk, like you can drive straight to the fort and just explore the fort. Or you could drive to the fort, do the 3-mile loop walk, and finish at the fort. But we suggest doing, drive into the gates, park at the beach, the first car park, do half of the loop to the fort, explore the fort, and then walk back to your car. Just make it more interesting.
Yeah. And it's North Carolina's most visited state park, I believe, or one of.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. I have that in our blog post. The actual, I can't
could be
remember if
true.
it's one of or the most popular.
It's very popular.
Yeah, which, at first I was like, wow, that's an unusual statistic. But then when we went there, I'm like, okay, this is great, because it is, the fort's beautiful, and you have that great hiking trail, but you also have the beaches and that there too.
Sure.
And I believe during the summer they have lifeguards on those beaches too, which is a bonus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that was
Awesome.
pretty. And then another activity that we were really lucky to experience. I don't believe it's open completely to the public yet, but you can phone ahead to get a private tour if you want, is the Bonehenge Whale Centre.
Mm-hmm.
It is somehow part of the Maritime Museum, I think, and where it's located on the way into Beaufort, there's they're developing the land there, and they're actually going to extend the Maritime Museum, and it will become part of it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But really great sort of working centre where they're, studying whales, participating whale rescue, porpoise rescue, all of that. And then they're also reconstructing whale skeletons from, skeletons they find. And then the purpose is, of course, to educate people who come through. So we were able to go through brand new building and experience that, it was great. It was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And somewhat hands-on. Like we got to hold, what was it, a shoulder blade of a skeleton, which was huge, obviously.
Yeah.
And different other whale tooth and different other skeleton parts and stuff like that. But yeah, very educational for the kids, interesting, and the very passionate guide and people that work there. So yeah, check that out. Like it's a good way to learn about the local whaling area and history and how you can support it and support nature.
Yeah, big on conservation.
Mm-hmm.
They've put in a program, and it was really interesting to see, I think, especially if you have kids, just to get the first-hand experience to understand the impact that we as humans have on animals. And there is a skeleton of a dolphin here at the Whale Centre, and they've purposefully left the fishing line it's wrapped inside the dolphin's skull. So the dolphin, when it was like a 6-month-old baby, got caught up in this fishing line. And for about the next year, the dolphin survived. And so in that process, it's thrashing around, can't eat properly, trying to get this fishing line off. And as the dolphin's grown, the bones of its skull have grown around the fishing line. So it's inside its bones, and eventually it ends up killing the dolphin. And they had the foresight to keep the fishing line in that so that they could educate people. And they've started a program down there where they put canisters out. And I don't think it's just in the Crystal Coast. I think it's extended further. But they've put canisters out on beaches so fishermen can dispose of their fishing line properly. And it's I can't remember the number, but the number of fishing lines they have collected so far with that initiative is extraordinary. So they're really doing great work to help, conservation and protect our animals off the coastline there. And we need to, because animals anywhere are very special and they need us to protect them.
Sure. Yeah, it was sad to see, but that display, but very impactful, and just makes you realize, discarding, a little bit of fishing line, what it can lead to.
What it can lead to.
And it just adds up, like, the more you discard. And so, keep that in mind to, do your fishing, but responsibly.
Yeah. And it was also great there to hear about how many whales are actually off or have been recorded off the coastline of North Carolina. It was in the 30s of different species at some stage that have been recorded there.
Yeah, it's incredible. And all the largest, the biggest ones, like they got a chart there and diagram. Like, all the names of the particular whales and the sizes and stuff. And just, huge.
Really amazing. And if you didn't know, this area many, many, many years ago was huge for whaling, which is another reason, it's such a kind of wild, sort of rowdy pirate area. You also thrown into that, the whaling. So thankfully that stopped a long time ago. But that was, there are a lot of whales off the coast. It shows there were a lot of whales off the coastline there.
Yeah.
Everything. I don't know if you wanted to mention that breakfast place.
Yeah, we can wrap it up.
Yep. Okay. Well, that was our little 3-day vacation to the Crystal Coast. We loved it. It was great. We've got loads of details over on This Is Raleigh. Search Crystal Coast. We'll put it in the show notes as well for this podcast episode.
Yeah, looking forward to going back in, different seasons, warmer months actually, and like having more of a beach stay. But, it's not just all about the beach. You can go in there winter and explore the towns and the museums and, the food and drink side of things. And, just as we're leaving, one breakfast place I want to mention is the Trading Post in Emerald Isle. Yep. That was great. Awesome food, and I had probably the best shrimp and grits there I've ever had. So, yeah, if you like your shrimp and grits, head to the Trading Post in Emerald Isle.
That's a good southern meal.
Yes, it's very southern.
Yes.
But, yeah, that was great shrimp and grits. And every other meal there was good too.
It was.
It was cool vibes.
Yeah.
Popular breakfast spot, so keep an eye out for that. And the other place escapes me the name we went for breakfast. It was right on near the pier as we were driving back to Raleigh.
Yeah, Emerald Isle Pier. Mm-hmm. So we had a brunch really. Surf's Up Grill and Bar. And in the summertime, they reckon it starts getting busy at 10 a.m. because it's right on the beach there.
Yeah, we walked in there at 10 a.m. and pretty much had the place to ourselves.
Yeah.
And had some breakfast and beautiful views out over the pier and the ocean. But they're like, we're typically full by now.
Yeah, that's right.
So that'd be a happening place, I reckon. It'd be a happening place.
I think so.
Like all day and especially at sunset.
Yeah, and the beach there was beautiful. So you could just swim, have a margarita, swim.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to going back to the Crystal Coast and checking out, doing more of Emerald Isle, Atlantic Beach, Indian Beach, Pine Knoll Shores, and Morehead City too. Like there's things to do there.
Yeah. Great destination. So
breweries, bars, all of the above.
Leave your comments for our next trip in the blog post. Where should we go when we go back to the Crystal Coast? We'd love to hear your tips for that and for future readers to that post as well, so they know what to see and do. But all right, guys, thanks for joining us on the Crystal Coast. Remember to subscribe to this podcast wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts. Share it with a friend, leave a review, and if you haven't joined our email community, do that now over on thisisraleigh.com. You can join our community. You'll get all our latest updates, including a Friday weekly update with latest happenings and cool finds.
Yeah. And once again, we are shooting this in the Earfluence studio, and if anybody's looking for help producing, editing a podcast, check out the guys at Earfluence Media and they can help you with that.
Awesome. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.